Anybody got anybody in their life that, they just have to learn things the hard way? Anybody got some people like that? And you're like, hey, no matter how much good advice they receive, they're just going to do it the way that they want to do it. How many of you are those people? You know what I mean? Hey, yeah, come on, let's be honest. Confession time right now. I'm that way. It doesn't matter. I can get really good advice, and I'm still going to do it the way that I want to. Prime example, okay? When Daniel and I first got married, we've been married a little less than a year. We got the greatest dog in the world to be our baby, man. It was a full-blooded German Shepherd pup, and we named her Jasmine. Guys, I'm telling you right now, that was the greatest dog ever. I'd put that dog up against anybody else's dog ever, man. She did everything that she was taught to do. I mean, she would go anywhere with you. She was always right there beside of you. She was loving. She would also attack when you needed her to. I mean, it was fantastic, all right? I mean, she was awesome, and then it was, we had her for a long time, and then a couple years ago, she ends up passing away. Horrible moment. And then we get this, you guys know that I've got this new dog that we've had for a couple of years now. I've talked about this dog before because, it's a pain in the rear, but that's okay, all right? That's okay, man. My wife and my kids, they love this dog. And so when we got the dog, Danielle said, hey, what you really need to do is let somebody else come in and train this dog because you're not going to be able to spend the time that you did with the last one. And, we really want her to be obedient, really want her to be a great family dog as well. So let's take her somewhere and let somebody else help train her. No. I'm not paying anybody to do anything that I know that I can do myself, right? Thank you. See, you know what I'm talking about. All right? Man, some people getting set free this morning right now. I can feel it. All right? But here's the deal. All right? 2 years later, man, that dog don't listen to a word I say. I mean, not a word. I'll tell that dog to go away and he comes closer, all right? I tell that dog to sit and he jumps, all right? I mean, that's just the way that it is, right? And here's the deal. Husbands, pay attention right here. Here's a really important lesson. If I had just listened to my wife, I wouldn't be in this situation, right? And see, I know. It hurt coming out of my mouth, all right? I'm just telling you, it hurt. It hurt coming out. But I had to learn things the hard way. I could have saved myself some unnecessary pain, some unnecessary hardship, some unnecessary stress if I had just taken the advice of wise counsel. And I believe the same thing happens here as well. If we would just pay attention to what God's telling us, if we would pay attention to the influences that are surrounding us and the influences that are speaking into our families, I believe that we can save ourselves some unnecessary hardship and some pain and some heartbreak. Lot caused some of those hardships for Abram. So looking at Abram's experience with Lot, what can we see about the wrong influences in our families? First thing is this: the wrong influences, they cause unnecessary drama. The wrong influences, they cause unnecessary drama. So we jump to chapter 13 in Genesis, and what we find out is that Abram and Lot, man, both of their livestock, everything's growing, God's blessing, and so man, both of them, their hired hands and their livestock have both grown. But what they've got now is they got this problem because what happens is that the hired hands are now into this massive disagreement, basically over grazing rights, which makes no sense because you got all of this wide open space and all of this land, but they're trying to raise the livestock in the exact same place because they weren't supposed to be together in the first place, right? Lot wasn't supposed to be there, okay? So now they're trying to fight over this land right here. The hired hands are going at it, and now Abram's got to step in and try to figure out how to solve this particular issue because the wrong influences are causing an unnecessary argument, causing unnecessary drama. The wrong influences continue to cause drama and stress in our lives. Don't raise your hand, but you got some people like that there's always drama surrounding them. They're always trying to suck you in to that drama, that their drama is causing you stress. Here's the question I want to ask. What impact is that having on your family? What impact is that having on your family? The wrong influences, they cause unnecessary drama. The wrong influences will pull you into the wrong battles. You see, to settle the dispute, what happens is that Abram allows Lot to choose. Says, look out there into the land, man. We got to go our separate ways right now. And so I'm going to let you choose the area that you're going to go to. It doesn't matter to me which direction that you go, but I want you to look out and I want you to find the land that you want to go to. You go that way, and I'm going to go the opposite way. And so what Lot does is he looks out into the area. He finds the place that he feels like is the most beautiful, going to be the most productive for him and his family to be able to go and to raise and to grow. And so he says, hey, I'm going to go in this direction over here. And we find out later on that that's going to be the area of Sodom. And so he ends up going left, and so Abram goes right. Well, and then the next chapter, in Genesis chapter 14, we find that we find that Lot ends up getting captured by 4 kings. And so he has to be rescued. He can't get his way out. He has to end up being rescued. And Abram is the one who has to step up and rescue him. So Abram, along with 318 fighting men, they go and they rescue Lot. This wasn't Abram's battle to fight, but he loved and he cared about Lot because Lot was family. And so he stepped in. Guys, we have battles to fight. And there are battles worth fighting. And the Apostle Paul tells us what those battles are. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in heavenly places. In other words, guys, our battles are spiritual battles, and we cannot waste time fighting the wrong battles. We cannot waste time allowing ourselves to get pulled into battles that do not matter. We can't allow ourselves to be drawn into battles with people, because people are not the enemy. People are not the enemy. People who vote differently than us are not the enemy. People who choose to wear a mask or don't wear a mask are not the enemy. People who choose to get a vaccine or not get a vaccine are not the enemy. People who are of a different color are not the enemy. People who struggle with different sins than us are not the enemy, because people are not the enemy. We are told very plainly who our enemy is. We have a spiritual enemy who has a mission to steal, kill, and destroy. That is our enemy, not the people that we are supposed to show and share the love of Christ with. And the wrong influences will try to pull us into the wrong battles. We got some people like that in our lives that are trying to pull us into the wrong battles. What impact is that having on our families? The wrong influences as well are always looking back. After Abram rescues Lot and gives him back everything that the kings had taken from him, what does Lot do? He goes right back to Sodom. It is there that he would get caught up in the sins that would eventually lead to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot could never seem to get away from looking back at where he was. He could never seem to get back away from looking at the way things used to be. And the wrong influences, man, they're always looking back. And it's not just that, but they're always going to want you to look back with them, to look back at the past, to look back at who you used to be, to look back at the sins that we used to be involved with, or the struggles that we used to have, to look back at failures and to look back at sin. But the right influences, they seem to always have their eyes looking forward. Proverbs 4:25, look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. You see, the right influences, they're always going to have their eyes looking forward, focusing in on where God's taking them and where God's taking you. The right influences, they're going to be the ones that are encouraging you in your relationship with Christ, encouraging you to seek after Him. They're going to be the ones that step into the gap and help pray for you when you need it. The right influences are the ones that help to hold you up when you can't hold yourself up anymore. The right influences are going to keep their eyes focused ahead, while the wrong influences are constantly looking back. The wrong influences, they're there. They cause unnecessary drama, pull us into the wrong battles, and are constantly looking back. So what do? Well, we must develop the right boundaries for who is influencing our families.